Hi guys, rightio. That better? Yep. So welcome to Grooties, ladies and gentlemen. So what I thought I would show you is what I've been doing with the diff. So I've got one last locker in stock, and one of the young lads that I know, he doesn't have a lot of money, so he came for me to do a weldy. And I just did him a deal. I said, look, what I want to do is I want to trial the next iteration of the locker. So I still charge him because I have to pay for this stuff. But what I've done is, if you look, can we get that there? Is that better? All right. So what I've done in here, I've turned this bigger in here. So what I used to do was I used to turn down the back of these lockers because these things are an off-the-shelf cheap locker. You can buy good quality and you can buy cheap quality. I buy the cheap ones because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a cheap diff conversion. So I didn't want to have to machine the case. I wanted something that would drop in. But what I found was I've had to weld these in. Once I've made this drop in there with modifications, I've had to weld these sleeves into two of the diffs. So I've had comebacks, R&D, blah, blah, blah. Now, what I've done was I've modified the case. Hold on, give me a sec. I'll pause that and I'll get a torch. Okay, here we go. Right. That now sits all the way in where it's supposed to sit. And now what I can do is I'll be able to shim this to get my clearances correct. And I still cut down a pin anyway. Now I cut down a factory pin, and this stuff isn't going to last the same kind of time frame as big dollar diffs anyway, because this is a budget solution. So what I might do is I might cut a bunch of these the same to suit, and then that way I'll be able to sell that with a locker already in it. And then all you'll do is you'll buy it without bearings and you'll put your own bearings on. This one is such a budget one that it's getting seals, not even getting a set of bearings. So sometimes this is the stuff you've got to do. This was the last one laying around. So I sent, what have I got? I'll have to probably do this on another local one because there's another local one I haven't repaired yet. And all it was when I was putting them in and cutting them down, there's a little lip here but not a big lip. So with the Beamer diff, they don't actually have a big lip. So what I was doing was I was chopping this down and it would float in there. So the old gear used to sit in there and actually move side to side a little, if you can see that. And what it would do is it would lock, and then when it unlocked, it would shutter the gear. So R&D, this is how you do it. I handed this idea to Full Drive Systems, Locker, L-O-K-K-A, I think that is a Locker. I Rally anyway. I handed this to him and said, look, make this happen. There's some money in this. Guys need a affordable diff option. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And there was always excuses. Nothing ever happened. So I went, you know what? Whatever. I got to a point, and I tried doing this for the community, for the BMW community, because I thought everybody needs a 188. And I went, you know what? I don't really care anymore. It is what it is. I'll just do it myself. Like always, guys, this is what we do. So yeah, this one's going to be done tonight. Now to get that out, watch this. Rightio. We have a drawbar with a little loop on it. I'll show you. And then I'll reset it up. Now it must have been about a thou or two, maybe 3 thou out when I did it. But I'd seen that as not really detrimental due to the fact it's just locating. It doesn't have to be perfect because it'll spin in there, but no matter what, there was always about 10 thou worth of slop in there anyway. So what we do now, and what we're doing is we're relying on the machining on the housing actually being half decent. Oh, there we go. Now, let's take this off. Right, so what we've done, we've got this, which was my welding jig to weld that sucker in. So then if you look inside, can we see inside with the camera? Yep. So inside here, you have, where's my pointer? Oh, goodness gracious. I had a pointer. What did I do with my little pointer? Let's just use this. So inside here, there's a little lip, and I used to chop the gear to sit in that lip, but not anymore. And what I did on the last couple that I had to repair, I grabbed, these were very, very big dollar washers. I had to have these made. These are made out of, I couldn't even tell you what they're made out of now. They were made purposefully for this, so they're quite hard. And I was putting them in and then bolting it together and then welding them in. And that was my solution. But now I went, you know what? I have to have a real solution, something that will work forever now. And that's what this is. So we put that in there. All right. Then we'll sit this. Now it's got a taper. So we poke that up and over. Do the drawbar up. And then we grab our, is this one I was using earlier or not? I don't know, we'll see how straight this is. We could just about use that. There. Now we will see how straight it spins. It's not bad. Now, if I really, really wanted to know, what I could do is I could put the dial indicator on here. But if it doesn't spin straight, then it's going to do my head in. And then all I'll do is I'll undo this, I'll do this up, undo this, do this up, and it'll just get out of hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my torch. Aha! I found my pointer. So what I'll do is I'll grab my torch. It's close. You wouldn't know. It would pop. So it's very close. So what I usually do when I'm clocking up, I'll grab something like this. Come here, let me take you around the other side so I can show you clocking up for dummies. Right, nice and easy. So what you do, oh, come on. So what we'll do now is we'll bring this out, bring this over, and this is a bit dirty, so it'll get better. Ooh, and it's hot too. So it's got a halogen on it. So that was a bit burny. Now you can spin it backwards and it won't cut. Right? So if we grab that there and we go, that was my bit I was looking for. Now it's not out by much. So let's go all the way around now. See that? And that was only with a couple of thou on the pull out. So what we'll do now is this goes in. We just push this all the way in because I've got to deal with a lathe that's only got a certain amount of adjustment anyway. And then we'll wind that in. Right, and then we bring this out. And then we should be able to I think Oh no. So see that? Right. Like I didn't turn it on. The slide here was touching on the actual diff. So that's right. So what I'll do is I will start cutting. I'll do a time-lapse one and throw some music to it.